We begin here, at the threshold of a vast, unfolding mystery. Standing beneath the weight of creation, the heart inevitably trembles. We are so small, yet haunted by questions that stretch across time itself. We look up, and the silence echoes back our deepest inquiries. Koham, who am I, really? Aham kritaha agatvan, where did I come from? Mrito anantaram kim bhavti, what lies beyond the final breath? Kasmat dukam vartate, and why, amidst this beauty, does suffering remain? We search because we feel that the truth is hidden, but we search in the wrong direction. The truth is not out there in the stars. It is here, within the one who is asking. The Upanishads do not seek to tell you about God. They seek to reveal who you truly are. Welcome to the Pashupatavidya Commentary series. In our previous exploration, we experienced the revelation of Rudra, a direct encounter with the Absolute. But today, we step back into the classroom of antiquity. To truly unlock the ShivaAtharvasheeras, we must look through the eyes of one of the greatest masters of Advaita Vedanta, Upanishad Brahma Yogin. Living in the 18th century, Upanishad Brahma Yogin was not merely a scholar. He was a sadhaka who realized the inner meaning of the Muktik canon, the 108 Upanishads. His commentary is unique because he doesn't view the text as a collection of rituals, but as a systematic map of consciousness. He interprets every symbol, every metaphor, and every name of Rudra as a pointer toward the singular, non-dual reality of Brahman. His work was preserved for the modern world through the tireless efforts of Pandit A. Mahadev Sastri of the Adyar Library. When we study his commentary, we are not reading a modern opinion. We are engaging with a lineage that has carefully guarded these truths for centuries.
Om Bhadram Karnebi iti Shantihi Devanam Rudra Swarupa Jijñāsa Devaha Vai Swarga Loka Mayamste Deva Rudramu Pruchan Ko Bhavaniti Atharvashirsha Manata Protavachakam Sarvādhāramanādhāram Svamatra Traipadāksharam.
The devas, the celestial beings, have ascended to the highest realms. There, they find themselves face to face with the Lord Rudra. We shall reveal the depths of his nature as our study progresses. For now, they stand before him, but asking the one inquiry that dissolves all ignorance. Who are you? Let us now enter the commentary of Upanishad Brahma Yogin.
Iha kalu Atharva Veda Vibhakteyam Atharvashirakakya Upanishad Parabrahma Arthaya Drushyate.
Here, indeed, this text is recognized as a division of the Atharva Veda. This Upanishad, known as the Atharvashiras, is seen as the very essence of the Supreme Brahman.
Prashna Mundaka Mandukyavat Asya Upodagata Adikam Uhyam.
Just as we approach the Prasna, Mundaka and Mandukya Upanishads, we must in for the significance of this text's introduction and methodology.
Yatokta Lakshana Lakshitaya Upanishada Swalpa Grantato Vikaranam Arabhyate.
We begin our study of this Upanishad, defined by the characteristics already stated, through a concise textual analysis.
Devata Kadamba Rudra Prashna Prativachana Rupe Ma'akyayika Vidya Stutyartaha.
This narrative, which takes the form of a question from the devas and the response of Rudra, serves to praise the knowledge itself.
Keyam Akyayiketiyaha Deva iti Swadeha prabhaya dyotanavanta indriyadayo deva.
What is this narrative? It begins with the word devas, shining with the light of their own essence. The devas are the senses and divine faculties.
Havai iti nipatau vrittanusmaranartau swaloka nivasi birapi geyam swargalokam Mahākailāsam agamanam gatavantaha.
The particles ha and why are used here to recall a past event. They traveled to the celestial realm, the great Kailasha, a place celebrated even by those who dwell in their own celestial abodes.
Ye Mahākailāsam pravishtaha te deva swatirittashtita rujam dravayati nashayati rudram pruchan prushtavantaha kimati ko bhavaniti.
Those devas who entered the great Kailasha addressed Rudra, who dissolves the suffering residing within the self. They questioned him, asking, "Who are you? But what does it mean to say this text is seen as the meaning of the Supreme Brahman in the vision of Upanishad Brahma Yogin?" An Upanishad is not merely a collection of words or historical chants. The term Para Brahma Arthaya implies that the entire structure, the narrative, and the words of this Upanishad are intended to explain the ultimate substratum on which the whole cosmos stands, the Parabrahma. They're like a clear crystal placed before a lamp. They do not have a light of their own, but they reveal the light of the Parabrahman, the absolute reality that lies behind them. Why does the Upanishad begin with the story of the Devas? Upanishad Brahma Yogin explains that this is Vidya, Stuti Arthaya, a praise of knowledge. In our tradition, when we want to make a student value a sacred truth, we do not just present it as a dry fact. We present it as a living, breathing power. By telling the story of how even the Devas, the highest divine faculties of perception, had to ascend to the highest realm to seek the truth of Rudra. The Upanishad is building reverence in our minds. This narrative serves to glorify the knowledge by showing us the humility of the Devas as they ask, "Who are you?" The text prepares our own minds to receive that same knowledge with the same intensity. It tells us that this truth is not something to be taken lightly. It is the ultimate conquest of the Devas, and therefore, it must be the ultimate goal of our own consciousness. The Upanishad introduces the Devas with the phrase Indri Yadhi Dev. Literally, this means the senses and their associated faculties are the Devas. Why does Upanishad Brahma Yogin identify the senses, the eyes, ears, touch, and so on as Devas? Because the word Deva comes from the root Dev, meaning to shine or to illuminate. Our senses are the shining ones because they illuminate the world for us. Without them, the universe would be a dark, unperceived void. However, there's a catch. Usually, these shining ones are outward bound. They run toward objects of pleasure and perception. When the Upanishad says the Devas ascended to the great Kailasha, it is a metaphor for the seeker turning their consciousness inward. It signifies the process of pratyahara, withdrawing the senses from the noisy external world and directing them toward the source of their own light, the Self. The Upanishad continues, Svaloka Nisvimapi Gaya, Swargaloka Mahākail Samgaman. They traveled to the great Kailasha, a realm celebrated even by those who dwell in their own celestial abodes. In the commentary, this is not described as a walk through physical space. To reach the great Kailasha, this absolute peak of inner silence, is to transcend the relative heavens of our own desires. Even the divine faculties, the Devas, live in their own spheres of activity. The eye sees, the ear hears, the mind thinks. But these are all lower heavens because they are still bound by objects. To reach Mahākailāsa is the final stage of sthan, It is the movement of the mind from the peripheral, noisy world into the absolute center of the self. It is described as a place celebrated by all, because in that state of supreme silence, all conflicts cease and all seekers, regardless of their path, find the same singular truth. The Upanishad states that the devas addressed Rudra, defined as Sthairitha Dravaiti Nashaiti Rudram, he who dissolves and destroys the suffering that resides within the self. This is a profound shift. The devas do not call him by a name that suggests God in the distant sense. They call him by the functional name of Rudra. In the commentary, Ruja does not just mean physical pain or illness. It refers to the avidya, the fundamental ignorance that makes us feel separate from the absolute. The suffering here is the belief that I am this limited body-mind. Rudra is the one who dissolves, Dravaiti, this ignorance. He is the force of transformation that breaks the knot of the ego. When the devas encounter him at the peak of Kailasha, they are encountering the power that can finally strip away their limited identities, melting them into the infinite. And so, the devas, having shed their outward gaze, stand before the source of all transformation. They offer no praises. They carry no gifts. In the absolute silence of the highest peak, they ask the only question that matters. Who are you? With this inquiry, the devas invite us to look within. Join us in the next chapter as we witness the revelation of Rudra.